They shot the human cadet, but what happened next will shock you. Covered in his blood, she emerged, holding his severed head. A cadet gone, but something darker, something far stronger, took his place. Her revenge will be the stuff of legends. You thought humans were weak. Well, they made the biggest mistake of their lives. Because she's not just a survivor, she's the storm they've been dreading. And the war is about to get personal. But what if she's not alone? Stay tuned, because things are about to get wild. Welcome, everyone, to my YouTube channel, your home for the most mind-blowing HFY sci-fi stories. I'm random male narrators Peter, the voice behind these epic tales, and I'm here to take you on a ride you won't forget. So buckle up, and let's dive into today's story. End with a dramatic pause. Let's begin. They thought they had won. The cadet, the symbol of human rebellion against the alien forces, lay sprawled on the cold, metallic floor. The sound of his pulse quickened as the distant hum of alien machinery echoed around the room. The ambush had been swift. No one had seen it coming, except for him. His team, once his allies, now stood above him, guns raised, betrayal written across their faces. The alien forces watched, their eyes glinting with cold indifference. He had trusted them, but trust was a luxury humanity couldn't afford anymore. The lead alien officer, a towering creature with smooth blue skin, stepped forward. The human has no place here, he sneered, his voice a growl. The time has come for humanity to be erased. The cadet's eyes flickered, trying to stay focused, to hold on to the last sliver of hope. But it was too late. They fired. His body jerked as the bullets tore through him, the pain blinding. A silent scream left his lips, and then nothing. Silence. But just as the alien officer began to turn, something strange happened. The girl, she was standing in the shadows, her eyes locked on the cadet's still form. She had been watching from the beginning, unnoticed by anyone, her heart pounding in her chest as the final shot rang out. She knew something would happen. She could feel it. She was no stranger to the feeling of loss, of anger, but this was different. She pushed off the wall, stepping into the open. The cadet's blood dripped from the gunshot wounds, pooling beneath him, but her eyes weren't on the blood. They were on his face, the face of a soldier who had fought and died for nothing. Her hand reached for the severed head, which lay discarded on the floor nearby. The aliens, distracted by their victory, didn't see it coming. The girl, her hands trembling, lifted the head in the air, staring at it with a burning intensity. It wasn't just the cadet's head she held, it was the symbol of humanity's refusal to fall. Her voice cut through the quiet. This isn't the end, this is just the beginning. The alien officer turned, narrowing his eyes. What is this? You think you can do anything with that? You think you can stop us? The girl stepped forward, her face hard, her eyes burning with rage. You have no idea what you've just started. With each step, her anger grew, but so did something else, power. She could feel the blood in her veins pulsing with a new rhythm. She could feel the rage transforming her, changing her. She wasn't just a cadet anymore. She wasn't just a survivor. She was something more. The air felt heavier, as if the universe itself was holding its breath. The aliens, once so sure of their victory, now took a cautious step back. They didn't know it yet, but they had just awakened a storm, and this storm was coming for them. The girl's grip tightened on the head she held. It wasn't just a trophy, it was a key to something far more dangerous than they could ever imagine. One of the alien soldiers began to raise his weapon. Again, but she was faster. A single movement, swift, deadly, had him crumpling to the ground. The alien officer, his face a mask of disbelief, pointed at her. You are nothing, a mere human. But the girl didn't flinch. She grinned, blood smeared across her face. You're about to learn exactly what nothing feels like. The silence in the room deepened as the girl turned her back to the aliens. She started walking away, but not in fear. She was going somewhere they couldn't follow. She was going to end this, but she wouldn't do it alone. The girl knew there were others like her, others who had been cast aside, left to die. But she wasn't going to let them stay dead. She wasn't going to let her people be forgotten. The aliens had no idea what they had just unleashed. One of the soldiers desperate. Furious charged at her from behind. He was foolish. She wasn't just a survivor. She was a warrior. Without even turning, she raised her hand and bang, the soldier dropped to the floor. The echo of the shot filling the room. The alien officer's eyes widened. You are not alone, are you? She didn't answer. She didn't need to. There was no going back now. Her mission had just begun. The world would know her name. The world would know what she could do. But as the girl walked toward the exit, a thought lingered in the back of her mind. Was this truly the beginning, or was it too late? The cadet's blood was still on her hands. Was she ready to bear this weight? Could she truly lead humanity into the war they had started? The door slammed shut behind her, echoing through the cold metal halls. And somewhere in the darkness, someone else was waiting. Who else is out there waiting for her? And what is the true power of the severed head? Naughty question to be answered in the comments section. Do you think she'll make it out alive? Or is she about to become just another casualty? The girl didn't look back. The cold, metallic walls seemed to close in on her, but her steps never faltered. She didn't care about the war that raged around her anymore. She cared about one thing, vengeance. Her mind raced as she moved swiftly through the corridors. Each step echoed in the silence, the blood still fresh on her skin. Her hands still trembling from the weight of what she'd done. She could feel the power growing inside her, like a dormant force that had just woken up. But there was more, something deeper, something she couldn't ignore. The severed head of the cadet, now clutched tightly in her grip, pulsed with a strange energy. It was almost as if it were alive, as if it had a purpose beyond death. She couldn't explain it, but she knew she had to find out. The head wasn't just a trophy, it was a key. A secret the aliens never wanted her to unlock. Her thoughts were interrupted by the sudden sound of footsteps. She froze. Her instincts kicked in. There was no time to think, only to act. The aliens were hunting her. Of course they were. They didn't know what they were dealing with yet, but they would. Soon. In the distance, she heard voices. Alien soldiers, talking, laughing, thinking they had won. She gritted her teeth. They had no idea who they were dealing with. She crept forward, her movements silent. As she neared the source of the voices, her heart raced, her breath shallow, but she wasn't afraid. She was ready. The training, the blood, the betrayal, it had all led to this moment, and she wasn't going to waste it. The group of aliens rounded a corner just ahead, unaware of her presence. The girl's grip on the cadet's head tightened. Her eyes narrowed, her pulse quickening. She had to do this. No more hiding, no more playing by their rules. It was time to rewrite the story. Without warning, she lunged forward, her feet barely touching the ground as she charged at them. The first alien barely had time to react before she struck. A flash of movement, she was faster than they could comprehend. Her fist collided with the first soldier's face, sending him crashing into the wall with a sickening thud. The others barely had time to draw their weapons before she was on them. The head of the cadet, still in her grip, swung like a weapon, knocking one of the soldiers to the ground. Another tried to fire, but she was too quick. With a single motion, she disarmed him and sent him sprawling across the floor. The last one, the leader of the group, hesitated. He didn't know what he was facing, but he knew he was outmatched. His eyes flicked nervously to the head she held. He had seen the cadet's final moments, knew what it meant. You think you can win? He spat, his voice trembling with anger and fear. You're just a human, a weakling. The girl's laugh was cold, devoid of humor. You still don't get it, do you? You never understood what humanity is. You think we're weak because we're human. You should have paid more attention. With a swift motion, she threw the head at him. Not with force, but with purpose. It landed at his feet, and for a moment, everything seemed to freeze. The room was deathly silent. The alien leader glanced down at the head, his expression a mix of confusion and dread. And then it happened. The head began to glow. A faint blue light surrounded it, pulsing softly at first, then growing stronger. The glow expanded, forming a circle round them, and the air seemed to hum with energy. The girl stepped back, her eyes wide with realization. The cadet's head wasn't just a symbol of death. It was a conduit, a source of power, and it was starting to awaken. The alien leader took a step back, his face contorting with fear. What? What have you done?" He stammered. "I didn't do anything," the girl whispered. This is you." Before he could react, the light around the head flared brighter, and in an instant, the alien leader was gone. No explosion, no fire, just a blinding flash that left nothing behind. The room was silent once again. The girl stared at where he had stood. What just happened? Was it the head, or was it her? It didn't matter. The power was undeniable now. She had unlocked something ancient, something that would change everything. But as she turned to leave, a new thought crept into her mind, one that chilled her to the bone. What if they aren't the only ones with this power? The room around her seemed to close in, the walls pressing against her chest as she hurried forward. She couldn't stop. Now, not after everything she had done. She couldn't afford to fail. Not when there was so much more at stake. But the questions were starting to pile up, and the more she uncovered, the more she realized she wasn't just fighting aliens anymore. She was fighting something far bigger, something that had been hiding in the shadows for too long. And who else was out there, waiting for her? Who is behind the power of the cadet's head? And is the girl truly alone in this fight? Or is there someone or something watching her every move? Naughty question to be answered in the comments section. The girl moved swiftly through the darkened hallways, her footsteps echoing against the cold metal floor. She didn't stop, not even to catch her breath. Not after what had just happened. The power that had surged from the cadet's severed head. The eerie glow, the disappearance of the alien leader. It was too much. Too many questions. Too many unknowns. She had to keep moving, keep fighting. But deep inside, something was gnawing at her. Fear, regret. No, not fear. Not anymore. What she felt was the weight of a promise, the promise she had made to herself and to humanity. She had watched the alien forces crush her people, stomp out every trace of resistance, and all she had been able to do was watch. But no more. She wasn't going to let them win, not while she had this power. She wasn't going to let humanity go down without a fight. As she turned a corner, she saw a familiar face, someone she hadn't expected to see again. A soldier, a fellow human who had survived the chaos. His eyes widened when he saw her, her blood-stained figure illuminated by the dim overhead lights. You're alive," he said, his voice shaky, a mix of awe and fear. "Barely," she replied flatly, wiping some of the blood from her face. "But that's not the point. What matters is that we fight. Together." He hesitated. "But the others, they're scattered. We've been running from the aliens for so long. How are we supposed to take them down? We're not trained for this." She stared at him, her eyes hardening. "You think they're waiting for us to be ready? They're not waiting. They've already won. But I'm not going to sit back and let them crush us. You've seen what I can do, what I will do. Are you with me, or are you going to keep hiding?" The soldier gulped. The fear was still there, deep inside, but so was something else. Something had changed in her, changed in all of them. She wasn't the scared, lost recruit anymore. She was something far more dangerous, something that wouldn't stop until every last alien was wiped from the face of the earth. He nodded slowly. "I'm with you." "Good." The girl turned and started walking again, but this time, the soldier followed, his steps tentative, yet determined. "Gather the others. It's time to end this war." As they moved through the abandoned base, collecting any surviving humans they could find, the girl couldn't help but think about what the cadet's head had shown her. That power, that feeling, it was intoxicating. It made her feel invincible. But it also made her wonder, was she truly in control of it? Or was it controlling her? She shook the thought away. She didn't have time for doubt. Not now. Not when she was so close to ending this nightmare. When they finally gathered enough people, the girl addressed the small group. "This is it. The aliens won't stop until they have us all. But we're going to stop them. We're going to take the fight to them." The survivors looked to her, with a mix of hope and fear, but mostly determination. They didn't have much left, but they had each other, and for the first time in a long while, they had a real chance at winning. "We have to hit them hard. We have to catch them off guard," the girl continued. "They think we're weak. They think we're divided. Let's prove them wrong." The soldiers nodded, each of them stepping forward, their faces grim but resolute. They knew what was at stake. They knew the aliens wouldn't stop. They knew the stakes of this war. but now they had someone who was willing to fight for them, someone who was willing to lead them into the storm. The girl smiled darkly. Then let's make them regret ever thinking we were nothing. With that, they set off, each of them armed with the same goal, to take down the alien empire and reclaim their planet. But the girl knew the battle wasn't just about the aliens. It was about something deeper, something that had been buried in humanity for far too long, a hunger for vengeance, a need to prove that humanity wasn't just some weak species to be wiped out. No, they were something more. As they made their way to the main alien stronghold, the girl's thoughts kept drifting back to the power of the cadet's head. What was it? What had the aliens been hiding? She needed to find the answers. But more importantly, she needed to learn how to harness that power, to use it, not just as a weapon, but as a symbol of humanity's defiance. But the deeper she dug, the more she realized that this power wasn't just something they had discovered. It had always been there, waiting for the right person. Was she the one? She didn't know, but she had to find out. They finally arrived at the alien stronghold, and it was more intimidating than anything they had seen before. Towers of metal and glass, weapons larger than anything the humans had. The alien forces were gathered in massive numbers, prepared to destroy them. But the girl didn't flinch. She stepped forward, raising the cadet's head high. "This is for humanity," she said, her voice unwavering. "And it's about time we take back what's ours." As the alien soldiers advanced, the girl felt that familiar surge of power. It was building again. She was ready. But was she ready? What will happen when they clash with the alien forces? Can the girl truly control the power she's unlocked, or will it consume her? Naughty question to be answered in the comments section. Do you think the girl can truly control the power of the head, or is she about to lose everything? The battle began in a blur of chaos and violence. The sound of blaster fire echoed through the alien stronghold as the girl led her ragtag group of survivors into the heart of the enemy's domain. Her heart pounded in her chest, but her resolve remained unshaken. There was no going back. The alien forces were massive, their towering figures moving with the precision and cold calculation of a well-oiled machine. But they had underestimated humanity's resolve. They had no idea what they were about to face. The girl stood at the front, the severed head of the cadet held high, glowing with that strange, pulsating energy. She could feel it now, coursing through her veins, fueling her every step. It was like a fire inside her, driving her forward, making her feel unstoppable. The alien soldiers, initially cautious, now saw her as a threat, a powerful force that they couldn't ignore. One by one, they advanced, weapons drawn, their eyes narrowed in contempt. But the girl didn't flinch. She had been through too much to be scared now. With a roar, she charged. The aliens fired, but her movements were too quick. She ducked and weaved between blasts, her body a blur of motion. The head in her hand glowed brighter with each step she took, as though responding to the violence. To the chaos, she tackled the first alien soldier to the ground, using the momentum to roll and take down another. Her arms, strengthened by the power of the cadet's head, moved with terrifying precision. She wasn't just fighting to survive. She was fighting to destroy. The battle raged on, but in the midst of it, her thoughts were not on the soldiers she was taking down. They were on something else, something bigger. The alien commander. She had seen him before. Back when they first attacked, he was the one who had ordered the destruction of her team, the one who had pulled the trigger on the cadet. And now he was here, watching her, a smug look on his face. His eyes gleamed with that same cold arrogance that had marked him as a true enemy. He stepped forward, his hand resting on the hilt of a massive blade, the symbol of his rank. "You think you can fight me?" he sneered. "You, a mere human, who has no place here. You're nothing but a dead woman walking." The girl's lips curled into a smile. "You don't know who you're dealing with." The alien commander laughed, his voice dripping with mockery. "I know exactly who you are. You're a broken soldier, trying to play hero, and you'll die just like the others." She stood tall, the power from the head swirling around her like a storm. The air crackled with energy, and she could feel it surging within her, urging her to act. "No," she said, her voice low and deadly. "You're the one who's going to die." Without warning, she charged, her movements faster than any human should have been able to move. The alien commander swung his blade, but she ducked, her body twisting with inhuman speed. She grabbed his arm and twisted it behind his back, the force of her movement making him stagger. "You don't deserve to wield this power," she growled. With one swift motion, she yanked the blade from his hand, throwing it aside. The commander's eyes widened in shock as he tried to break free. "You're insane," he spat, his voice filled with venom. "You'll never defeat us." "I already have," she said, twisting his arm tighter. The commander struggled, but the girl's grip was like iron, her strength far surpassing anything he could have imagined. With a final twist, she forced him to the ground, his face in the dirt. "You may have taken everything from me," she muttered, "but I'm not just some victim. I'm the one who's going to end you." The commander groaned, trying to push himself up, but the girl didn't give him the chance. She grabbed him by the collar, lifting him to his feet. "Any last words?" she asked coldly. But the commander didn't speak. His eyes were filled with hatred, but also fear. He realized, too late, that she wasn't the helpless human he had underestimated. She was something far worse. Without another word, she drove the blade into his chest. The motion swift and final. The alien commander's body collapsed to the ground with a sickening thud. The girl stood over him, her chest heaving as she caught her breath. But even as the battle around her raged on, she knew this was just the beginning. She had killed the commander, but the war was far from over. As she turned to face the rest of the soldiers, the glowing head in her hand pulsed with power. The energy inside her flared once again, and she realized that she was more than just a soldier now. She was something else, something that the aliens had never seen before. But as the aliens began to retreat, she couldn't shake the feeling that something darker was waiting for her, something she hadn't yet uncovered. What had she truly unleashed with the cadet's head? And who else knew about the power she now wielded? What is the true source of the power she's unlocked, and how far will it go to consume her? What other forces are watching her every move, waiting for the moment to strike? Naughty question, to be answered in the comments section. Do you think the girl has what it takes to truly control this power, or is she on the verge of losing herself to it? The dust from the battle still hung in the air, a thick cloud that seemed to wrap itself around the survivors. The girl stood, her chest heaving, her body trembling not from fear, but from the aftermath of the power she had just unleashed. The alien forces had been pushed back for now, but they would return. She knew that. They always did. But something inside her had changed. The power, the energy from the cadet's severed head, had become a part of her. It pulsed beneath her skin, a constant hum in the back of her mind, urging her forward, pushing her to do more, to take more. She had used it to defeat the commander, to rally the humans to fight back. But was it enough? The survivors gathered around her, their faces a mixture of awe, disbelief, and finally hope. She had led them through the battle, and they had won, but they had lost so much already. So many of their friends, their comrades, had fallen in the fight. They were all that remained, but they weren't just fighting for survival anymore. They were fighting for something bigger, something worth protecting. The girl looked around at them, her eyes scanning each face, feeling the weight of the responsibility she now carried. They didn't just need a leader, they needed a symbol of humanity's strength, of defiance, of survival. And she was that symbol. She clenched the severed head in her hand, the light pulsing more intensely now. The power was there, but it was growing stronger with each passing moment. She wasn't sure how much longer she could control it. Was it too much for her to handle? Was it starting to consume her? A voice broke her thoughts. It was the soldier who had joined her earlier, the one who had been there from the beginning. "We did it," he said, his voice filled with awe. "We actually did it." The girl nodded, but her expression remained serious. "This is just the beginning. The aliens won't give up. They'll be back, and when they do, we need to be ready, he asked, his brow furrowing. "How do we get ready? We barely survived this attack. We're outnumbered, outgunned." The girl's eyes hardened. "Then we fight, we train, we prepare. We're not just fighting for our survival anymore, we're fighting for the future of humanity." She could feel the power coursing through her, and it scared her. It scared her more than she cared to admit. But there was no turning back now. She had awakened something deep within her, and she wasn't sure what it was or where it would lead. But she couldn't afford to be weak, not when humanity's future depended on it. The survivors nodded, their expressions hardening in determination. The fire in their eyes matched her own. They had no choice now but to fight, and they would. Fight to win. But as they began to move towards the war room, planning their next steps, the girl's thoughts lingered on the severed head in her hand. The energy it emitted was becoming harder to ignore, growing more insistent with each passing hour. What was this power? Where had it come from? She had seen the glow, felt the pulse of energy, but she hadn't had time to understand it. Could it be linked to the aliens' technology, or was it something much older? Something buried deep within humanity's past? What if the cadet's head was just the beginning? Her thoughts were interrupted by a loud crash from the hallway. She snapped to attention, instinctively reaching for a weapon she didn't have. But before she could react, a figure appeared in the doorway, an alien. A new one. The creature was different from the others she had faced before, slender, almost ethereal, its skin pale and translucent. It had a look of ancient wisdom in its eyes, and intelligence far beyond the other aliens. The girl's breath caught in her throat. This one wasn't just a soldier, it was something more. The alien spoke, its voice calm and measured, but with a hint of authority that sent a shiver down her spine. "I've been waiting for you." The girl took a step back, her hand tightening around the cadet's head. "What do you want?" The alien's eyes glimmered with an unsettling mixture of curiosity and something darker. "I have come to offer you a choice." It paused, as if weighing its words carefully. "You are not like the others. You've unlocked something dangerous, but you don't understand it. You don't understand what you've awakened." She narrowed her eyes, the hairs on the back of her neck standing up. What are you talking about?" The alien smiled, but it wasn't comforting. "You've only just begun to scratch the surface. This power you wield, it is not just for humans. It was never meant for you." The girl's heart skipped a beat. What are you saying?" "I am offering you an alliance," the alien said, its voice almost soft. "You can join us. We can help you harness this power. We can help you control it. But if you continue down this path, you will lose everything, even your humanity." The girl's eyes hardened, her grip tightening on the severed head. "I don't need your help, and I don't need you." The alien's smile faded, its eyes darkening. "Then you will fall, and when you do, you will bring about the end of everything." With that, the alien turned and disappeared into the shadows, leaving the girl standing there, her heart racing. The warning echoed in her mind. What had she unlocked? What was the true cost of this power? The room felt colder suddenly, the weight of the decision pressing down on her shoulders. She wasn't just fighting for her survival anymore. She was fighting for the survival of everything. But who was truly behind this power? And could she control it before it consumed her? What is the true nature of the power she's unlocked? And who was the alien that just offered her an alliance? Is there something darker lurking behind this power? Naughty question to be answered in the comments section. Do you think the girl should accept the alien's offer and join forces? Or should she continue to fight alone? The alien's words lingered in the girl's mind, twisting like a knot she couldn't untangle. She had been offered an alliance, a chance to control the power coursing through her veins. But what would it mean to accept that offer? Would she be giving up everything she had fought for? Her humanity, her soul? She clenched her fists. The severed head of the cadet still gripped tightly in her hand. The glowing energy was now pulsing more intensely, as if it were reacting to her thoughts. No, she thought, her resolve hardening. I will not bow to them. I will not become a tool for their control. The girl turned away from the shadows where the alien had disappeared. She couldn't afford to waste time wondering about what could have been. The war was still raging, and the aliens were still out there. They wouldn't stop until they had wiped out every last human. And she wasn't about to let that happen. Not when she had this power. She addressed the survivors, her voice steady but commanding. The time has come. We've trained, we've fought, but now it's time to end this. The aliens are regrouping. They're planning something big. We Need to strike them first. One of the soldiers, a young man who had been with her from the beginning, stepped forward. His face was covered in dirt and sweat, but his eyes were filled with fire. We're ready. But what about you? You've been different since you used that head. Are you sure you can control it? The girl's eyes flashed. I'll control it. Don't worry about me. She clenched her jaw, feeling the power growing inside her, urging her to act. She had no choice. She had to be stronger than the alien forces, stronger than whatever darkness was creeping into her soul. The group moved swiftly through the base, setting up traps, preparing weapons, and securing every possible escape route. They were ready for whatever the aliens could throw at them. But the girl couldn't shake the feeling that the real battle wasn't just ahead. It was already happening inside her. The power was growing stronger, threatening to overwhelm her. Could she hold it back? Could she truly control it? As they reached the heart of the alien stronghold, the girl felt the presence of something far bigger than just the aliens. Something ancient. Something that had been waiting for her. The air seemed to vibrate with tension, and the walls of the base began to hum, as if they, too, were alive. We're here. The soldier beside her whispered, his eyes wide as he stared at the massive alien fortress ahead. The girl nodded, her hand gripping the cadet's head even tighter. This ends now. But as they moved closer to the entrance, a shadow appeared in front of them, blocking their path. It was the alien, the one who had offered her the alliance. His pale, translucent skin glowed in the dim light, and his eyes were filled with an eerie calm. You should have taken my offer, he said, his voice soft but filled with undeniable authority. The girl didn't hesitate. I don't need your help. He smiled, but it wasn't a friendly smile. It was the smile of someone who knew they had already won. You will, soon enough. Before she could react, the alien raised his hand, and the ground beneath them cracked open, sending shockwaves through the base. The survivors stumbled, trying to regain their balance. But the girl stood firm. She could feel the power within, her surging, ready to be unleashed. You're making a mistake, the alien said, his voice growing darker. This power, you can't control it. It's not meant for you. The girl's eyes burned with fury. I will control it. You've underestimated humanity for too long. With that, she raised the cadet's head high, feeling the energy within it flare to life. It was as if the very air around her was vibrating with the power she had unlocked. She could feel it pulsing, urging her to act, to strike. The alien's expression flickered with uncertainty for just a moment, and that was all she needed. With a single, fluid motion, she thrust her hand forward, sending a wave of energy surging toward the alien. The blast hit him with a force that sent him flying back, his body slamming into the wall with a sickening thud. The room shook as if the very foundations of the base were being torn apart. But the girl didn't stop. She couldn't. She felt it now. She was no longer just fighting for survival. She was fighting for everything. For the future of humanity. For the people who had died so that she could stand here. In this moment, the alien struggled to rise, his body battered, but still alive. You have no idea what you've just unleashed, he gasped, his voice trembling with fear. I know exactly what I've unleashed, the girl replied, her voice cold and resolute. And now, it's time for you to feel it. She stepped forward, the power within her building, growing stronger with each breath she took. She wasn't just a soldier anymore. She wasn't just a survivor. She was the storm, the one the aliens had feared. And they were about to learn just how much they had underestimated her. With one final, decisive strike, she sent the full force of the energy surging toward the alien, watching as it consumed him, the room shaking violently with the impact. For a moment, there was silence. Then, the alien's body was gone. The girl stood alone, her breathing shallow, her body shaking from the power that had been unleashed. But she wasn't done, not yet. The base was still standing, but the war was far from over. The girl could feel it deep inside her. There was still more to come. There were still more battles to fight. But now, she was ready. She was ready to lead humanity into the new era. The age of the aliens was over. The age of humanity had just begun. What else lies hidden within the power she's unlocked? And what will it cost her in the end? naughty question to be answered. In the comments section, do you think the girl has truly defeated the alien threat, or is something much darker waiting for her in the shadows? The silence was deafening. The alien fortress, once filled with the sounds of blaster fire, screeching metal, and the commander's mocking laughter, now stood eerily still. The girl, standing in the heart of the battlefield, could feel the weight of the world pressing on her shoulders. Her body was exhausted, her mind numb from the power she had unleashed. Yet, deep down, she knew it wasn't over. The battle with the aliens had ended for now, but something far more terrifying had begun, the war within herself. She looked around at the survivors, those few who had made it through the brutal fight. Their faces, a mixture of awe and disbelief, reflected the weight of what had just happened. They had followed her, trusted her, and now they were witnessing a transformation they could barely comprehend. The cadet's severed head, now faintly glowing, still rested in her hands. It was the symbol of their victory, but also the reminder of the price they had paid. She had killed the alien commander, torn apart the heart of the invaders. But she had done it with power she didn't fully understand, power that was now growing, stronger inside her. The survivors gathered around her, waiting for her to say something. She knew what they were expecting, a speech, a declaration of victory, some semblance of closure. But she couldn't offer them that. Not yet. "We did it," one of the soldiers said. Breaking the silence, "We stopped them. You stopped them." But the girl didn't answer immediately. Her gaze was distant, as if she were listening to something only she could hear. The power pulsed inside her, a constant hum that seemed to drown out everything else. The alien forces were gone for now, but what about the forces behind them? The ones who had been pulling the strings, the ones who had put this power in her hands. "I didn't just stop them," she whispered, her voice carrying more than just exhaustion. "I've unleashed something else, something I don't fully understand. This power, it's not just about revenge or even survival. It's about control. It's about destiny." A chill ran through the group of survivors. They had seen her wield unimaginable power, but now they saw something else: fear. Fear of the unknown. Fear of what had truly been unleashed. "What do you mean?" another soldier asked, his voice trembling. "What power are you talking about?" The girl turned toward them, her expression grim. "This head. It's not just a weapon, it's a key to something much bigger than we can even imagine. I've felt it, calling to me." She closed her eyes for a moment, the power overwhelming her senses. She had thought she was the one in control, but the more she used the head, the more she realized that it was controlling her. She was the one who had wielded it, but it was shaping her, changing her, making her into something else entirely. The survivors watched in silence, unsure of what to say or do. They had seen the girl fight with unparalleled strength, but now they saw her as something more, something dangerous. "You've done more than lead us," one of the soldiers finally said, his voice soft. "You've given us hope. But do you think this power will make you one of them, one of the aliens?" The girl didn't answer immediately. She couldn't. The question weighed heavily on her mind. She had already felt the temptation, the pull to give in to the power, to become something greater than human. But was that truly what she wanted? Or was she being drawn into something darker, something that would consume everything she had fought for? "I'm not like them," she finally said, her voice steady, but with a flicker of uncertainty. "But I don't know how long I can keep fighting it. This power, it's not just something I can use. It's something that uses me." The survivors exchanged uneasy glances, and the girl felt the weight of their expectations bearing down on her. They had followed her, trusted her, and now they were looking to her for answers. But she had no answers to give. "What do we do now?" one of the soldiers asked. "The aliens are gone. But you're right. There's something bigger at play here, something we don't fully understand." The girl nodded. "We move forward. We keep fighting. But we don't just fight the aliens anymore. We fight for something greater, for the future of humanity, for the legacy of everyone we've lost." She took a deep breath, her gaze hardening. The power within her was still growing, still pushing her forward, but now she understood something that terrified her. It wasn't just about winning anymore. It was about what she would become. The cadet's head, glowing faintly in her hands, was the key. But to what? What had she truly unlocked? She didn't know the answer, but she knew one thing for certain: humanity's fight wasn't over. It had just begun. As the survivors gathered around her, ready for whatever came next, the girl's thoughts drifted to the future, the uncertain, dangerous future. They had won the battle, but the war wasn't just about defeating the aliens. It was about surviving the power they had awakened. And what would she become in the process? What will the girl become now that she has unlocked this unknown power? Will it consume her, or will she control it? And who or what will rise to challenge her next? Naughty question to be answered in the comments section. Do you think the girl will lose control of her newfound power? Or will she remain humanity's greatest weapon?